Come closer. Listen to the wind as it howls across the fjords and through the silent ancient forests. It carries with it stories. These are not just any stories, they are the sagas of gods and giants, of heroes and monsters, of creation and of a final cataclysmic end. This is the world of Norse mythology, the spiritual bedrock of the North Germanic peoples, the ancestors we often call the Vikings. These myths were their way of understanding the world around them, a world of harsh winters, brilliant summers, and the vast, unforgiving sea. They are tales of courage, of fate, of wisdom won at a great price, and of the eternal struggle between order and chaos. These powerful narratives were not born in grand libraries or written by scholars in quiet study. They were forged in the heart of a vibrant oral tradition. They were spoken aloud in the smoky warmth of the longhouse, chanted by poets to the rhythm of a crackling fire, and passed down from one generation to the next. For centuries, this was their only form. It was only much later, long after the old faith had begun to fade and a new one had taken its place, that these tales were finally written down. Our most precious keys to this lost world are medieval Icelandic manuscripts, most notably the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda. These texts are our windows into the soul of the Norse people. The Poetic Edda is a collection of anonymous poems. They are the raw, unfiltered voice of the myths themselves, filled with prophecy, divine conversations, and heroic deeds. The Prose Edda, on the other hand, was compiled in the 13th century by an Icelandic chieftain and scholar named Snorri Sturluson. He feared these foundational stories of his culture would be lost forever. So, he meticulously gathered and organized them, creating a handbook for poets that would preserve the myths for all time. Together, these sources, along with archaeological finds like runestones and carvings, allow us to piece together the beliefs that guided these formidable people. The importance of this mythology stretches far beyond the Viking Age. It is a cultural treasure that has profoundly shaped the identity of Scandinavia. It survived the great wave of Christianization, its echoes living on in local folklore, traditions, and even the names of our weekdays. Today, these ancient stories are experiencing a global revival. They thunder through our modern culture, inspiring epic films, captivating literature, and immersive video games. By exploring these myths, we're not just looking back at a forgotten religion, we are connecting with a powerful and enduring legacy that continues to fascinate and inspire us all. Now, let us turn our gaze from the stories to the stage upon which they unfold. To truly understand the gods and their deeds, we must first understand their universe. The Norse people had a unique and breathtaking vision of the cosmos. This is what we call Norse cosmology. It is their map of reality, their ancient understanding of how the universe was structured, how it began, and how it would ultimately meet its end. This was not a science of telescopes and equations. Instead, it was a living, breathing cosmos, filled with intention, personality, and supernatural forces that shaped every aspect of existence, from the turning of the seasons to the fate of a single human life. At the very heart of this cosmic structure stands a tree, but this is no ordinary tree. It is Yggdrasil, the immense and sacred world tree. Its mighty branches stretch up to cradle the heavens, and its deep roots burrow down into the hidden depths of existence, connecting everything. Within the sprawling architecture of this cosmic ash tree lie the 9 worlds, the realms of gods, giants, elves, and humankind. These worlds are not distant planets scattered in a void. They are distinct, interconnected lands, each with its own inhabitants and nature, all held together in a delicate cosmic balance by the life force of Yggdrasil. It is a vision of a universe that is profoundly interconnected. This intricate cosmology offers a complete narrative of time and existence. It begins with cosmogony, the story of creation. It tells of a time before time, a yawning void called Ginnungagap, where the elemental forces of primordial fire and ice met in a clash that gave birth to the first beings. It continues with anthropogeny, the origin of our own species, explaining how the first humans were fashioned from driftwood found on a lonely shore. The cosmos is teeming with life, where every major element of the natural world is given a face and a name, from the sun and moon coursings across the sky to the earth itself. But this universe was not static. It was defined by a belief in cyclic time, a grand cycle of creation, destruction, and inevitable rebirth. This leads us to eschatology, the Norse vision of the end times. This was known as Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods. It is a prophesied day of doom when the forces of chaos will break free, leading to a final devastating battle that will consume the gods and submerge the world in water. Yet even in this apocalyptic vision, there is a seed of hope. For out of the ruins a new world is destined to be born, green and fertile, and the cycle will begin anew. Imagine a tree of colossal scale that forms the very spine of reality. This is Yggdrasil, the central pillar of the Norse universe. An immense and eternal ash tree that binds all of existence together. Its branches reach higher than any mountain, sheltering the realms of the gods. Its roots delve deep, drawing sustenance from sacred sources. Yggdrasil is life, the symbol of unending connection. The name Yggdrasil, often translated as Odin's horse, harks back to Odin's quest for knowledge. Odin hanged himself from a branch of this tree for 9 nights as a sacrifice to himself. He perceived the secrets of the runes, the ancient symbols of cosmic power. This world tree is the ultimate map of the Norse spiritual landscape. Its structure dictates the layout of the 9 worlds, a living network of pathways and spiritual energy. Without Yggdrasil, the worlds would drift apart. Its health is linked to the health of the entire cosmos. Clinging to Yggdrasil are the new Heimar, the 9 worlds, homelands of beings in Norse mythology. High in the branches sits Asgard, home to Odin, Thor and Frigg. It's linked to the world by the Bifrost. Not far away is Vanaheim, world of Freyja and Freya, representing fertility and peace. Alfheim, land of the light elves, is associated with light and growth. At the center is Midgard, our world, the realm of humanity. It is encircled by an ocean with Jormungandr. Beyond lies Jotunheim, land of the giants. Below Midgard is Svartalfheim, home of the dwarves. Muspelheim is the fiery realm. Niflheim is a frozen world. Finally, there's Hel, realm of the dead. Yggdrasil is a living universe sustained by sacred sources. Its stability depends on 3 major roots, each reaching down into a vital well. The first is Urdabrunna, the well of fate where the Norns weave destiny. Another root draws from Mimisbrunna, the well of wisdom guarded by Mimir. Odin sacrificed an eye for a single drink, gaining immense knowledge. The last root reaches Hvergelmir, source of cold rivers threatened by Nidhogger. The tree is also home to creatures like an eagle and the squirrel Ratatoska, who spreads discord. This reveals a truth. The Norse cosmos exists in dynamic tension, a constant struggle between order and chaos. Before time, there was nothing. But this was not peaceful. It was Ginnungagap, the yawning void, an immense bottomless chasm shrouded in mist. To the north lay Niflheimr, a land of ice. To the south, Muspelsheimer, a fiery kingdom. Fire and ice existed in opposition. Warm air met the ice and it began to thaw. Drip by drip, the melting ice began to take shape. From this union, the first life was conceived. A figure began to form. The primordial giant, Ymir. With Ymir's birth, the silence broke. The universe had its first inhabitant. Ymir wasn't alone for long. As frost melted, a second creature took shape. From the drips emerged Audumbla, a cosmic mother figure. She was the source of nourishment. Audumbla sustained Ymir with milk. The cow herself needed to eat. Audumbla began to lick the salty ice. From the ice, Buri emerged, strong and beautiful. Within Ymir's body, creation took place. Giants were conceived from his sweat. From Ymir came the race of Jotnar. They were creatures of chaos, destined to become adversaries of the gods. 2 lineages were born. From Audumbla came Buri, ancestor of the gods, and from Ymir, the giants. Their union produced 3 sons, the first of the gods. These brothers were destined to bring order to chaos. The 3 divine brothers, Odin, Vili and Ve, looked upon the state of existence and, well, were not pleased. The void was dominated by the crude and chaotic giants, all spawned from the primordial being Ymir, who was growing ever larger and more malevolent by the day. The brothers knew that for a true, ordered world to be created, The age of the giants had to end, and the reign of Ymir must be broken. And so they resolved to commit the first act of violence in the new universe. They banded together and launched an attack on their own immense ancestor. A terrible battle ensued, but in the end, the three young gods were victorious. They slew the giant Ymir. When Ymir fell, the consequence was cataclysmic. So much blood poured from his countless wounds that it created a mighty deluge. This crimson flood swept through Ginnungagap, and in its torrent the entire race of frost giants was drowned. Only two survived this genocide. A single giant named Bergelmir and his wife managed to escape the flood by climbing into a wooden box which served as a makeshift boat. They floated to safety, and from this one surviving pair, the entire race of giants would be reborn, their hatred for the gods now sealed forever. With Ymir dead and the giants temporarily vanquished, the three brothers had the raw material they needed to build a new world. They took Ymir's colossal corpse and carried it into the very center of the yawning void. From the flesh of the dead giant, they fashioned the earth and its soil. His immense, unbroken bones they heaved up to form the mountains and the high cliffs. His teeth and the shattered fragments of his bones they scattered across the land, and these became the rocks, pebbles, and stones of the world we know. The brothers took Ymir's vast ocean of blood and used it to form the seas and the great oceans. Then they took his enormous skull and raised it up high above the earth to create the dome of the sky. To hold it in place, they posted 4 dwarves at the 4 corners of the world, naming them Nordri, Sudri, Ostri, and Vestri. Finally, they took the glowing embers from Muspelheim and tossed them up into the sky, where they became the sun, the moon, and all the glittering stars. At the pinnacle of the Norse pantheon, dwelling in Asgard, are the Aesir. They are a warrior family led by Odin, the All-Father, god of wisdom, war, poetry, and death. Beside Odin stands his son, the mighty Thor, embodiment of raw strength. The chief goddess is Frigg, Odin's wife and queen of Asgard. Her most beloved son is Balder, the god of beauty and light. There is Tyr, the original god of war and justice. These include Freyja, the god of fertility, peace and sunshine, and his twin sister Freyja, goddess of love, beauty, magic and war. Together these deities form a complex family, full of alliances and rivalries. Beyond the gods, the 9 worlds are populated by other powerful races. The Jotnar, or giants, are beings of immense power, embodying the untamed forces of nature. They dwell in Jotunheimr and are the adversaries of the Aesir. The elves are divided into light elves in Alfheimr, associated with light and beauty, and dark elves, who dwell deep within the earth. The dwarves, or Dverga, are master craftsmen. Living in underground forges, they created the gods' most precious treasures, like Thor's hammer Mjolnir. Finally, Loki, son of a giant and Odin's blood brother, is a shapeshifter and trickster. His mischief leads to chaos, and he fathers monstrous children, playing a key role at Ragnarök. In Norse myth, nature was alive, its forces personified as gods and giants. Sol, the sun goddess, and her brother Mani, the moon god, raced across the sky, chased by wolves explaining day, night, and eclipses. Not, goddess of night, and her son Darga, god of day, rode their horses, bringing darkness and light. The earth was Jord, a goddess and Thor's mother, grounding the gods in the world they protected. The sea was ruled by Aegir and Ran, hosts of feasts but also the doom of sailors. Every river, wind and season had its spirit. To the Norse, the world was a living, conscious force to respect and fear. After shaping the world, Odin and his brothers found 2 pieces of driftwood on the shore. They gave these forms life, mind and warmth, creating the first humans, Asker and Embla. Humanity was born from trees, not divine flesh, tying us to the earth itself. The gods gifted us spirit, thought and vitality, but left us mortal, meant to live in Midgard. Our purpose to thrive, build and maintain balance between order and chaos. We are the children of gods, shaped from wood and breath at the world's edge. Fate ruled all in Norse belief, woven by the Norns, Urda, Verdandi and Skuld, who spun the destinies of gods and mortals at Yggdrasil's roots. Each life's thread was measured, its end inevitable. Courage meant facing fate with honor, not changing it. Valkyries, Odin's warrior maidens, chose the bravest fallen in battle, guiding them to Valhalla or Folkvanga. There the dead trained for Ragnarök, the final battle. For Norse heroes, death was not an end but a call to greater purpose. Ragnarök, the end foretold, begins with a world torn by war and endless winter. Wolves devour sun and moon, plunging all into darkness. Loki and his monstrous children break free. Chaos floods the world. Gods and giants clash in a final battle. Odin faces Fenrir. Thor battles Jormungandr. Freyja duels Surtur, and Loki meets Heimdallr. The world burns, the gods fall, and the cosmos is consumed by fire and sea. Yet even in destruction, a new beginning waits. After Ragnarök, the world is destroyed. Fire and flood erase all. Yet Yggdrasil endures, and from the void, a new green world rises. Survivors, Odin's and Thor's sons, Baldur and Hodr, return to rule in peace. Two humans, Lif and Lifthrasir, emerge to repopulate the earth. The sun's daughter lights the sky. Life begins again. Norse myth ends not in despair, but in hope. From every end, a new world is born. Ragnarök wasn't the end. Though the old faith faded, the stories lived on, burrowing into the cultural soil of Scandinavia. They transformed into tales of trolls and forest spirits, becoming a foundational element of Scandinavian identity. Even our weekdays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, quietly remind us of their lasting impact. The 19th century saw a resurgence of interest, the Viking revival, fueled by Romanticism. Figures like Odin, Thor and Loki became enduring icons. Today, Norse mythology has exploded into global popular culture, inspiring modern storytellers, films, video games, and even spiritual practices. These ancient stories possess a timeless power, continuing to shape and inspire our modern world.